Hey guys, Zoose here, and welcome to Patch Predictions, where we go over and we analyze what we predict to be strong or weak in the upcoming patch. One of the biggest changes, I think, and we'll definitely see a lot less of press the attack, is the change to the exposure, which is only added after the third attack now. Before, you could proc it on exactly the third attack, so basically it's going to take one more auto to pretty much proc this and activate that damage that the enemy is going to take. So this could make a huge difference in my opinion. Sometimes all it takes is that one attack in a team fight. How many times have you missed an auto? How many times have you just needed one extra attack? And this could make the difference. It's been pretty much dominant over every AD carry so far. I rarely see fleet footwork, and if people do have it, it's because they're either trying to chase a dream, but it's just not as strong as press the attack until now. And we're going to go over that in a second. Lethal tempo. This is another great change. We're going to see this a lot more in my opinion, and things like Kog'Maw and even Varus can try this out now. And 6-second cooldown, that is not too bad. You can pretty much go for trades way more often now, especially Kog'Maw. I'm pretty sure when his W's up, he's always going to be able to proc this. So look out for that too. And fleet footwork, this one is interesting. Now this, I've already tested it a few times. The patch has already come out here and it feels great. But you can always be increased by IE as well. So once you got IE, this is going to be even better. It's definitely a scaling and a lane keystone that's going to help you get through those weak phases. You may even see this on Vayne. I'll go over a few champs that I predict will be strong now. And one of the champs that will probably be seen not at bot lane is mid lane, and that is Corki, because he already had a decent laning phase and there was a lot of rune pages that worked really well with fleet footwork, Corki mid, and I think he's going to dominate again. Even though a lot of people still take Summon Aerie with Corki, Summon Aerie is still so dominant. I still don't understand what's going on with that. It feels like that, you know, people aren't even using the shield part of Aerie and it's still way too strong. Moving on to some of the runes in precision, we have Overheal. This is another great little buff here. I think we're going to start seeing this way more now. So instead of seeing everybody take Triumph, with this small nerf, 3% may not be much, but to then buff Overheal, you're going to see this a little bit more in my opinion. If you have lanes like Soraka or Sona, this is just going to I mean, it's going to be so frustrating to try and damage an opponent when they're just constantly healing and they have a shield. You know, whenever they have a shield up, generally people do not want to trade, and this is just going to enforce that. So you'll see other champs pop in now. Maybe you'll see more Jinx around. Maybe you'll see Jhin dominate a little bit more, and even Varus. As long as there's a healer in lane, this is going to be much more efficient. And the last rune in heroism is Presence of Mind. 2 seconds more, you might see it be used. I don't know who can abuse a large burst of using their mana. I don't know, maybe even Xerath. You know, I don't know. This is a tricky one. Presence of Mind it seems to be just abused by Kassadins because of that. The late game power spike they have, and you know, you can get pretty much infinite R's if you just keep killing things. But I mean, we'll see how this progresses. Something will come from this. And the last one is Combat. Coup de Grace will be nerfed 1%. Is it enough to change it? It's still really good. I don't know, 1%. That's a close one. It's still one of the most popular runes, if not the most popular. We'll see how this goes. This is, in my opinion, it's too small to make a difference. Alright, Domination. Eyeball Collection. This will only make a little bit of a difference in my opinion. It's not going to completely change. Ghost Poro and Zombie Ward, if people want to get that, they would get it anyway. But if they want Eyeball Collection, it's going to provide the damage that they need from that rune area. In tracking, there's not much else there. So I don't think you'll see Phase Rush. I don't think this will change anything. You get slow resistance with rain champs. Maybe Rise. It's just it's not in a good state at the moment. Storm Raider Surge, you know, it's like 1/3 of what Storm Raider Surge was. So until this gets other buffs, I don't think it's going to be that useful. The slow resistance, maybe again, it's gonna definitely tempt people to test things out, and you'll see quite a few different champs mid testing this, but I don't think this is going to do much. Celerity. Now, a lot of people didn't actually take this, but this is something that was really strong. I guess it doesn't look that appealing, but the movement speed was actually quite strong, and this will probably put it in its good place now. Not that popular still, but the people who did take it, I'm pretty sure they took advantage of how strong it was. Resolve, Mirror Shell, so I guess most people took conditioning, which seems to be the strongest in that rune path. And Iron Skin, for some reason, didn't get buffed. It's still on 5, but they decided to buff Mirror Shell. Magic resist is up a bit. Always good if there's a lot of AP, you can still get that. One of the last rune changes is Kleptomancy. Now, I'm sure a lot of people had complaints with this when an Ezreal or a GP would pick up a really strong item early on and just have that one item pretty much dictate the rest of the game, because they either got some crazy amount of AD or AP or mana pots that just sustained their laning phase, made them too strong. And they say they're going to, I guess, decrease variance. So that pretty much just means they're going to not make the OP items appear so early, I think. I hope that's the case. And they took away some attack range, which I didn't even know that was a thing. But anyway, hopefully the OP items won't appear so quickly, and that will kind of like scale with some sort of RNG, but still scale and not destroy a laning phase because of one item. So let's go over the champions and how the effects will change this patch. And so Aurelion Sol has actually disappeared quite a bit ever since Storm Raider Surged has disappeared. And you know, Phase Rush, as I mentioned before, very weak. It's just not in a good place compared to where Summon Aerie and Arcane Comment are. So any champ that relies on that burst of movement speed from the old Storm Raider Surge isn't going to have a good time in these new runes. But this little buff, it will bring them back. Aurelion Sol mains will like it, but there will be nothing compared to what they were before. Hopefully that slow resistance and this will just, you know, boost them up a little bit. Don't think it's going to change much. Good Aurelion Sols were always good either way. Bard, nothing important here, just a bit of health and meeps damage. Perhaps he'll come back a bit. He's still I feel like Bard is one of those very skillful champs. You got to kind of master him and time things correctly, because you can put yourself in a bad situation and you can pretty much guarantee your own team's death by landing that great R in the wrong area. Camille, so she's kind of fallen off a bit. She had some OP moments last season, but these are small little buffs. Hopefully she'll start being seen more. People may want to play her more, but I doubt it. Darius, he's not in a good place. He's still strong when he's, you know, snowballing, but this will definitely help. This is going to be, I reckon it's a pretty decent buff. He's now going to be decently good. You'll see him a lot more. Evelyn, small little buff. So apparently when she attacked or used an ability, it did not proc the magic resist shred. Now that's fixed, so she's definitely going to be stronger than she was, and I think she was in a good spot. So this is a nice little buff. Evelyn mains are going to definitely be a threat now. This is a good nerf here. Too many Ezreal bans, and when a champ is banned 70 to 80% of games, because of not only a rune buff but also the Q buff that he got, there's too much strength there, and obviously the ban rates in every elo was, he was either played jungle or bot lane, and he was strong in pretty much both, dominating in both. I'd say more Kleptomancy AD bot carry. And this is just going to just, with that small Kleptomancy nerf and this small nerf, he is going to be in still a strong area, but definitely not OP now. Galio is, this is an interesting one because they've actually nerfed his passive with the AP, so, and then they've given him AP with his shield. I don't know what they're trying to get here. He's not in a good spot right now. He has got one of the worst win rates, and when's the last time anyone's seen a Galio? He was pretty much only seen for one patch where they completely buffed his Q and he could one-shot people with 1 or 2 items, and then he disappeared after that. I don't think this is going to do much. I mean, you can go for crazy combos with a flash shield, fully charged. Imagine a fully charged shield with a flash, and you're going to do some crazy damage, but I don't know where to go from there. I mean, nerfing this as well, I said they should have left this and just added this. And they've also pulled down his lower, but in my opinion, this is not going to do anything. He's still going to be very bad. Perhaps in competitive is okay, but we're all solo queue here, so. Ivern got a small little buff. He's still going to be where he is, just in the mid-range. If you can play him well, you might get a few games. that you dominate with, but he's just not in this meta. I haven't seen an Ivern, and I'm sure you guys haven't either. If you do play Ivern, then I feel sorry for you, because the meta is not for Ivern at the moment. There's too many dominating junglers who are aggressive and will just take initiative and destroy every other jungler, including this one, by the way, who is getting a small nerf. And I don't think this is going to change him completely. He's definitely not going to be, you know, out of the meta now. He's still going to be around. But it's going to stop him from dominating so much. And I'm sure you guys have seen J4s just completely destroying junglers. And as well as just going around killing every lane and just being fed in extremely early into the game. This is going to hurt his, I guess, his late game with this. And that percentage health is gone down with his passive. Not that much of a nerf. Hopefully this kind of gets rid of this guy's dominance, because it's pretty obnoxious. Having J4 is just, he's one of those ultimate junglers who can have a bunch of CC, he has a bunch of damage, and he can go tanky. You know, you're never out of options when you play this champion. He's good in competitive, he's good in solo queue, he is just he's got the full kit to do a bit of everything, and that's what I like about this guy. But I feel like he's too dominant. I don't think this will do much, but it's better. It's in the right direction. Kha'Zix. Now, this guy has not appeared very frequently with the new runes. Nothing has really favored him. And as this is noted, Deathfire Touch has hurt Kha'Zix a lot. This buff, it's a nice little buff, but it's not going to make him... Kha'Zix mains probably not happy right now, and this will make him a little bit happier, but it's not going to do anything. Let's be real, this is not enough, and he's already a scaling champ. I mean, if you do get to late game with Kha'Zix, you're generally going to win more games, but I guess this will secure a few more later games, but I don't think that's where the problem lies, but it still gives him more of a chance. We'll see how this goes. Leona, wow, this champion has... So if you wanted to gain elo, I should have made a video on this, you should just play Leona. Dominate bot lane, do damage, go full tank, they cannot hurt you, you can initiate, you have enough peel, you have everything that a tanky support should have, plus damage. It's insane. And they're taking away this damage. Is it going to destroy her strong OP dominant laning? Not really. She's still going to be really strong, but it's definitely going to lessen that burst that she has. When she goes in on you, it seems like she does more damage than the AD carry. But this is better. She's still really strong, by the way. Malzahar. So this nerf is pretty much going to take away that damage from his R. Now, I've played a lot of Malzahar, and it's not about so much trying to kill them, it's if you can catch them. Because people know how strong Malzahar is, and no one will let you walk up to them and use all your abilities. That's the hardest part with Malzahar. No one's going to let you full combo them, and because if everyone just let you walk up to them, Malzahar would be completely broken, banned every game. And this is going to stop that burst from happening. Even if I'm able to walk on top of you and completely try and take you down with all my abilities and your full health, you may survive more now. This is all that this does. Will it take him out of the meta? Probably. I think this will end his... This is a prediction, remember, patch predictions. I think this will take him out of this dominant era that he's had. But he's still Malzahar. He's still good at what he does. He's good at picking out people. He's still good at shredding tanks with all his percentage health, damage abilities, and damage over time. He's still going to push lane once he's got a few items and that AP. But it's good. This is good. He's finally... I think people will stop banning him. I think he's lost this complete dominant ever since Crown won Worlds by playing Malzahar like 3 or 4 games in a row. This guy has been a complete threat and just made laning tough because some champs want to make plays and this guy just stops you from making plays. And he forces people to buy QSSs, and so all that stuff going to be lessened, and I think his dominant era is gone, but he's still really good for what he does, which is catching people out, CCing, sort of peeling. If you're not the most fed player, you can always peel for your AD carry too. He's okay. He's still good. He will go away for a little while. Maokai. Okay, this is not a big deal, but he's quite too dominant at the top right now. Damage is not that low. 65 early on. I'm thinking of the earlier levels where he dominates lane. I don't think this is going to change too much. He's still really good. Really good tank. If you like playing Maokai, if you want to play a tank top, he's still really good, and this wouldn't change anything. Alright, Morgana's changes are a little bit interesting. Mana regen up. These are not noticeable too much. It's the next two that, so this will pretty much, the more damage you're gonna do, the more you're gonna heal. So one of the most annoying things is playing against a Morgana mid who just constantly pushes, and it seems like no matter how much damage you do to them, they're just gonna slowly heal up from all the wave clearing that they have. And of course, if they end up queuing in WU, they will just heal everything up eventually with that spell vamp. And I think this is going to do a little bit more now, so it's going to be really annoying. I don't know the purpose of this. She's not in a good state, so perhaps they just want to buff her and see where people try with this. I don't think this is going to make her stronger at bot lane. You'll see her mid a few times. People will try her out. Give people an excuse to pretty much try her out. But man, I do not want to see Morgana mid, to be honest. That is the most boring thing to lane against. Ornn, one of the most dominant top laners. Many complaints came in, and this will slowly nerf him a bit. In my opinion, he was never broken. He was just one of those obnoxious champions that just, it's very annoying to play against. It seems like he does so much damage and you don't have, it's not that it's hard to avoid him, it's just, even if you want to trade with him, he just seems to win at everything that he does. So, I mean, this is going to help people trade now. I think that was the main complaint. He did way too much damage without building anything damage. And this is going to slowly help that. I feel like the pressure that you get in lane with this guy is going to go down. So people will be happy about this. Okay, Riven. Now, I don't think any Riven mains, the ones that are high elo, have any problems with her right now. But this is just going to just... I mean, this is a buff, and the thing with Riven is that she's such skill-based that anyone can make her work as long as you can play her with a lot of experience behind you and you understand her strengths and weaknesses. And this is just going to create chaos. I think in high elo, when there's crazy Riven mains, I think she'll be banned. If people know there's a Riven main in queue, they're going to ban Riven. She's going to be a threat like that. But for most other players, this is going to give a lot of players reason to play her, by the way. You're going to see her way more. But it's not that big of a deal. This is not that much. If a Riven's fed, she's fed either way. She's going to have a few items. She's going to do a lot of damage. So I've seen a few Shens actually dominate lane. They do a lot of damage with their Q. And this is just going to lower that, I guess. He's still going to be that pick. If you want to play for the team, if you need a tank, the team needs a tank and you want to fill that gap, this guy's still going to be good. Having good map awareness is what makes the good Shen players. Constantly being aware of what's going on and split pushing as well in the later stages is going to still make you a good Shen. I don't think that's going to do much, but again, it's like the Ornn nerf. It's just going to stop his that early game dominance with so much, I guess, damage on a tanky champion. Okay, Sona is... This is a good one because I felt like Sona was in such a good spot even after 3 small nerfs that were put out so many times. And remember, she didn't just get nerfed herself directly. She got summon Aerie nerf. And this is just going to get rid of her now. I don't think you're going to see many around. People usually played her because they abused her strength. She was extremely obnoxious. She could just walk up to you, Q and auto, and you know she's doing more damage than 80 carries, and then she heals you, and then she heals all the damage that you seem to apply. So this is definitely going to make her less annoying, and in my opinion, it will get rid of her. I think she will definitely disappear from that dominant bot lane era, and you'll see more Janna again. Maybe Zaya, and I'll explain Zaya soon. But you'll definitely see less of this person, of this Sona, and I think that's a good thing. Taric, he's really strong. I don't think people have picked up on him too much, but he's one of the stronger champions. If you really want to gain elo and you like playing the tanky supports, he's one of them. With the Leona nerf, and this is a very small nerf, by the way. I think he'll still be at the top. Him and Leona are still extremely strong. I still think they're the top 2. I would put money on that too. Alright, Xin Zhao. This guy, if you haven't played solo queue in the last month, then you haven't known that this guy is dominating everywhere. He does a lot of damage. He can pretty much 1v1 every jungler. I don't know who can 1v1 him early on. He does way too much damage, and the healing is insane too. And if he's an actual good Xin and can land his second part of the W, then he's going to absolutely destroy you. And this is what they've nerfed a little bit. The line damage and they've taken some base health, so this could help that early game. I think when junglers come out and it's the first 3 levels that they really dominate. Most junglers will look for fights when they get the second buff, and he may not be as dominant. I don't think this is going to change that much, but he was so strong that he's still OP, in my opinion. He's still OP. This has just made him a little less stronger. Yorick, again, this is so small. These are so small, like 3 base damage. If you're good at Yorick and you know your strengths and weaknesses, you're not going to notice any difference, in my opinion. So keep playing him if you'll enjoy him. Alright, Zoe. Now, the newest champ. I played a lot of this champion, and a lot of the things that I complained about in one of the videos I made have been changed, and I'll go over that. So the Q would sometimes go off. Sometimes you'd think it's like a guaranteed hit, and it would just miss. For some reason, it like the slightest, like 1 pixel off would just miss. And other times, you'd press Q and R in anyways to try it out, and you'd get a kill, surprisingly. So it just became unpredictable. But they've fixed a few bugs, and this is going to be good. I think it just makes her, it's going to make her feel rewarding if you try and dodge her, but also rewarding if you're playing Zoe and you know the distance and you go for that QR. You're going to feel way more consistent hitting those combos. Spell Thief. Now this is really good. A lot of the big complaints with this was that, you know, you could pick up a barrier or a cleanse or a flash early on, and you just hold it for 40 seconds. It's pretty much like having a summoner spell at that point. But this 20-second reduction is going to, you know, if she's able to pick, say, a Gunblade really early on, even though that's still annoying, you have only 20 seconds now, which is half the time, to kind of back off if you don't want to trade with that Gunblade. So she's going to be forced to use it. She may even be forced to just walk up to you and use it, and it's just not going to be as flexible. She's going to have to time her W perfectly and use it at the most efficient time instead of rushing it. Because, I mean, I could pick up so many summoners and spells and I would just flash for the fun of it. And this is going to make me think about everything that I pick up and timing it well. Sleeping trouble. Now, this was the other big issue that people had. It seemed to be inconsistent. The thickness of the E was catching people out way too much. And they've tried to fix this, so hopefully they'll do that. They've changed the cooldown, so I guess people sometimes would hit maybe a minion and they'd still get the cooldown. Whereas now the cooldown has to be on a champion if you want to get the reduced cooldown from E. Drowsy duration, they've upped this. I think this means that the sleep is a little bit less now, which is good. The drowsy is still, you still can, you know, use abilities, and so you'll have more time once you're hit by it. You'll have more time to decide what you want to do before you're put to sleep. The slow is just reduced by 20%. Not that bad. It's better than nothing. Okay, so the max distance this travels once it goes through a wall. If you've seen any videos or played Zoe yourself, you can get some pretty insane ease across the map. I'm talking like 3 to 4 screens away. And this is going to stop you from doing that. This is going to stop people from getting those really long range E's. Trap radius. Okay, this is another issue people had where they felt that they were outside the I guess the hitbox of that E when it was landed on the floor. And this is just going to make it smaller. So instead of, you know, changing the hitbox, they just actually change the size of it, which is fine. Perfect. This is exactly what people wanted. And Mikhail's Crucible now removes sleep. Now I know I rarely bought Mikhail's and people did have issues with this, but this is what we needed as well, just to have some sort of counterplay. I mean, if one of the items to counterplay her E wasn't even working, just means she was really annoying. Alright, and the last one is Zyra. Now, these are quite some changes here, but basically it's a lot of numbers. To summarize it, I'd say that her plants now are kind of harder to kill for ranged, but easier to kill for melee attacks. Pretty much if you're melee and you walk up to a plant, you can one-shot it. If you're ranged, you have to two-shot it. But if you can actually decide, say you're Ahri versus Zyra mid, you can decide to use a charm, which is a single target spell, and it will get rid of that plant in one go. So, you know, it sort of makes you decide, do you want to sacrifice one of your spells to just get rid of that plant damage? And, you know, that's just one single target. If you're Xerath, you can use the stun on the plant. Say you're about to die, you can just stun the plant. You're not going to stun Zyra because she's behind the plant. Stun the plant won't do damage anymore. It's something to... There's definitely more counterplay, but I think she's going to be stronger. Her plants have more health though, in general. And, I mean, they're all here. The numbers are here. But, basically this as well, where she's basically rewarded for getting kills and pushing lane. Which is what makes me think they're going to try to make her a mid lane champ or something like that. Where, again, you get large minion kills and large monster kills. You're going to be able to spam W. More plants, more damage, more annoying, more pushing. You know, it just elevates everything that she does. So they haven't exactly buffed her numbers in terms of damage. They've just, in my opinion, they're going to make her plants stronger. And that's pretty annoying. More seeds, more plants, more damage. And the skillful, the good Zyras who are careful with their placement, they know how to, you know, maximize their damage with their plants and place it in the right areas. They're going to do really well, and I think it's going to reward them for playing well. So if you want to play Zyra, try her mid. This is going to reward you for that. You definitely want to get the Sunfire Cape pretty quickly. A lot of people just get this and then build something else after that. But Sunfire Cape might be good now. I don't play enough top lane to really know. So basically this will be good for, you know, trading and fighting more. You'll see Sunfire built a lot more in my opinion. But again, not a top main. Haven't played top for a bit, but I remember there was a time where Sunfire would just take over games. But that's been it. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm going to bet that you're going to see a lot of lethal tempo and fleet footwork around. A lot of champs will come in, and we can go over those champs really quick.